This is Dr. Sridhar, and today's topic is the business incubators. And today in this class, we will be looking at the concept of business incubators in India, and what are the different types of incubation services that are offered. And before we try to enter into the topic, entrepreneurship development process is very much required for the economic growth of any country, as for every economic activity the roots or seeds are sown by the entrepreneurs. Here there are many hurdles in the entrepreneurship development process wherein the entrepreneurs are well versed with the idea or concept of business, but whereas they are lacking of the technical and professional skills, and also the facilities that are required, that is the infrastructural facilities that are required for further stepping into the next steps in the development of a, or converting the idea into the viable concept. And here business incubators are a specialized organizations which are purely set up to provide services or to help the entrepreneurs to further take their concept into a commercial profit product or service. And here a business incubator is a company that helps new and startup companies to develop by providing services such as management training or office space. This is also a facility established to nurture young startups firms during their early stages. It usually provides affordable space, shared offices and services, hand-on management training, marketing support, and often access to some form of financing. Business incubators as a catalyst tool for either regional or economic development. This is the definition that is given by the that is the National Business Incubation Association, which we call it as NBIA. Here, when we look at the concept of business incubators, their main aim is to help or aid the entrepreneurs in the process of developing or converting their business idea into a commercial product or service. As we know that the very first stage of entrepreneurs that is converting or bringing up a product or service is idea generation. And here the entrepreneurs are having a viable idea, but whereas they are lacking of various other facilities which are not accessible to them. And here business incubators will help them in providing all the facilities, including the technical skills, expertise and infrastructural facilities, in order to help the entrepreneurs in the further steps in the development of their business idea. Here the concept of business incubators, that is the formal concept of business incubators, began in the US in 1959 when Joseph Masco opened the Batavia Industrial Center in the Batavia, New York warehouse. Incubation expanded in the US in the year 1980s and spread to the UK and Europe through various related firms. Here, that is the very formal, the concept of having a business incubators began in the year 1959 itself, but whereas the concept has popularized in US from 1980s and slowly it has spread to UK. The US-based International Business Innovation Association estimates that there are about 7,000 incubators worldwide. So this is an estimate that we have around 7,000 business incubators all over the globe, and incubation activity has not been limited to developed countries. Incubation environments are now being implemented in developing countries and raising interest for financial support from organizations such as UNIDO and the World Bank, that is United Nations Industrial Development Organization and the World Bank. And here the concept of business incubators slowly spread from the developed nations to the developing nations as well. Whereas everyone has identified the need and importance of entrepreneurship development in the growth or prospects of the economy, and the concept of business incubators are spread throughout the globe. Here, the business incubation concept can be compared with that of a hen hatching an egg. There are similarities between the hen hatching an egg and entrepreneur bringing up an enterprise in the form of a product or service. Here, there are 9 steps through which a hen hatches an egg. Similarly, there are different phases through which an entrepreneur passes through the concept. The very first is builds a nest. The hen builds a nest. Similarly, in the same lines, an entrepreneur contemplates starting a venture, lays a clutch of eggs. Here, the entrepreneur in this phase collects all resources and formalizes the venture, becomes broody, and here the entrepreneur in this stage concentrates on entrepreneurial activity. That is, the entire focus of the entrepreneur is purely on the entrepreneurial activities. Loses some weight. Here, under this category, an entrepreneur does not get unserved, unawed by the initial teething troubles, but worries. Moves the eggs frequently. As a hen frequently moves the eggs, here an entrepreneur becomes vigorous with the business activities and keep a close tab on those activities. Provides heat. Here an entrepreneur pours all the necessary resources that may be required. Keeps them moist. Ensures that there is no scarcity of any resources at the beginning, as any scarcity of the resources will hamper the further process of the development of the activities. Here an entrepreneur ensures that all the resources are available at the required level. After 12 to 14 days, leaves nest more often. Here, under this category, an entrepreneur becomes carefree once the venture is set up and let it run without concentration on day-to-day activities. That is, he is freed of some kind of pressure wherein everything is already been set up. At last 20, she moistens them again prior to hatch. So here, this is the last phase wherein an entrepreneur, once the venture appears to be moving smooth, just gives it the final glance to ensure that all is in order and as the venture is set up. Here, when we have looked at the various steps through which a hen takes care, or what is the steps by step what is that is done by hen, right from building a nest to that of hatching an egg. Similarly, an entrepreneur also goes on undertaking various activities, right from contemplating starting a venture to that of setting up of a venture. There are very similar activities that have been taken up. Here we can compare that both that is the business incubation concept with the hen hatching an egg. Here, under these different categories of steps or under different stages, business incubators or accelerators helps an entrepreneur by providing the various services as well as by facilitating the infrastructure that is required in order to build up or set up the venture. Now we'll have a glance over what is the status of business incubators in India. India now has the third highest number of setups, incubators and accelerators in the world after China and the US. So according to the survey or according to the data that is provided by NASCOM, that is the National Association of Software and Services Companies and Geno Consulting, India stands in the third position after China and US in terms of the number of incubators or accelerators that are set up in India. With 140 incubators and accelerators, India has inched past Israel, whose count stands at 130. Earlier, the Israel was in the third place and India has pushed back Israel and placed in the third by 140 incubators and accelerators. However, the gap with the top two is still yawning. That is, the China and US, which are in the top, are with 2,400 and 1,500 incubators and accelerators respectively. That is, China being with the 2,400 and US is with 1,500 incubators and accelerators, stands in the first and second position. And when we compare the gap between these two, that is India with these two countries, there is a huge gap between the number of incubators and accelerators. That is, there is much need for further establishment or setup of incubators and accelerators in India. The number of incubators and accelerators in India grew a sharp by 40% in 2016, with more than 40 of them seeing the light of the day. That is, we can call 2016 as a bright year for the India, where there is a 40% hike in the number of accelerators and incubators set up. That is, around 40 are set up in the year 2016. This is as per the report titled Incubators, Accelerators Driving the Growth of Indian Startup Ecosystem 2017. And out of these 40, 30 academic incubators was established under the government Startup and Stand Up India initiative. So the government of India has taken initiative to set up 30 incubators in the academic institutions like IITs and IIMs under the program called Startup India and Stand Up India. So this is what is the status of India with regard to incubators, and there is still much more progress that need to be attained by India so that it will further progress or foster the entrepreneurship development activity in India. Now let us have a look on the various incubator services that are provided. Here, the incubator services can be categorized into infrastructure or facility based services, business services, financing and access to finance, people connectivity and networking, education access to knowledge, brand building, secretarial services. Now let us have what are the different types of service under each category. Under first one, infrastructure, that is facility based services, the services that are provided like specialized equipment, high speed internet access. These two are being provided by the business incubators to the entrepreneurs. And under business services, assistance with business basics, marketing assistance, e-commerce assistance will be provided to the entrepreneurs. And under the category of financing and access to finance, help with raising the bank finance, grants, seeds and venture capital, accounting and financial management. These are the specialized services that are provided under the area of financing. And with regard to people connectivity and network, the services rendered are shadow advisory boards or mentors, links to higher education institutions, networking activities, access to venture capitalists, business angels and strategic partner linkages. And in connection with education, access to knowledge, the human resource training, comprehensive and business training, presentation skills training, these are the different set of skills that are being provided to the entrepreneurs from the business incubator. And with regard to brand building, strict admission and exit rules will be offered with regard to the brand building. And under the secretarial services, shared administrative or office services will be provided for the entrepreneurs. On the whole, there are 15 business incubator services that are offered in general to the entrepreneurs, which will help them to lift up or further progress their entrepreneurial activities, which are very essential in the entrepreneurship development process. So here, in a nutshell, business incubators plays a vital role as they are termed as a catalyst for economic development of regional and national level. So this will help. Most of the cases, there are a number of viable concepts that are there with the entrepreneurs, but as they are not aware of the required skill set and the infrastructural facilities that are not available or that they are not accessible to them, most of the concepts are left or are not conceived or left behind in further progress or further processing into the next stage. And here the business incubators plays a vital role in taking up or helping these entrepreneurs, which will definitely help help out them to carry out their conceived idea or viable idea into a converting it to a commercial profit or service. So this is what the importance of business incubator in India in general. Thank you very much.